Welcome to Ending the Stupid Gender War. This show is for intelligent, mature, non-ADHD, non-doom scrolling audiences only. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let us go ahead and begin, shall we? I have a feeling this is going to be another heated show for sure. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go. Here we go. Alright, beginning with the ladies as always. The lazy roommate syndrome. You turn from a husband into a lazy roommate who occasionally leaves his socks on my floor. You think foreplay is tapping my shoulder at 11 p.m. after you've spent the last 4 hours scrolling through reels of other women. I assume she means pornography. You don't date me. You don't romance me. You don't even see me as a woman anymore. You see me as the household appliance that also does your laundry. Then you have the audacity to be confused about why the appliance isn't in the mood. Obviously, she's talking about sex. You killed my desire by treating me like furniture, and now you're mad the furniture won't F you. Okay, so obviously she's upset, and obviously there's something wrong with her husband in this case. Now, this is the topic of sexless marriages in the gender war. It could be a relationship. You don't have to be married to experience this. It's an extremely bad sign. Is there any going back from this? You can make a comeback and turn the ship around? Sure. But chances are it's probably not going to work, because if it's reached this level of failure, yes, your relationship is failing. I don't care if you're married with kids and assets or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is like borderline a funeral for your relationship. So let's go ahead and nitpick a little bit here. So she's accusing him of turning into a lazy roommate. So there's a disconnection there, right? Now, do a lot of guys do this? Yes, they tend to do this. But women tend to do it too. It always works both ways, right? I mean, there's a cause for it. But sometimes there's not a cause for it. Sometimes the guys lose that passion. So, the socks on her floor, well, I mean, if it's chronically and just disrespectfully, I mean, it's your guys' floor. Unless you guys aren't living with each other. Sure, yeah, I guess it's just a no-go, right? Yes, you need foreplay, so she is right about that. And scrolling through, you shouldn't need pornography. If you need pornography with your partner, something's missing. Something's not there. Now, if you're in a long distance case scenario, then yes, you can use pornography. It doesn't mean you're better than your partner if you don't use pornography. It's a preference. Whatever gets you off while your partner's not there in a long distance case scenario. But when you're with your partner, the sex has to be through the roof. That's not an exaggeration. And if you think that's an exaggeration, you're going to suffer the same fate as what we're seeing here. So that is a sense of weakness and laziness if you fall into that category. If you don't keep that burning flame going, then the candle's going to just burn out. And there was a lot more to burn there, but yeah, the flame just went out. So if you put out the flame, what are you going to do? You have to reignite it, right? You got to get back to the wick of the situation. So yeah, it's okay. So he's scrolling through porn, no romance, don't even see her as a woman. So it sounds like the guy just fell out of touch. He just maybe out of love with his wife. So a household appliance, well, if that's the way she feels, being used for sex, then she's not going to want you anymore. There's no good stuff. There's no love. So yeah, understandably. Yeah, so she says that he killed her desire, treating her like furniture. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'll give her a point for this one, because there's lots of guys out there who allow their marriages to fail. And then they'll point the finger at her. She's like, what are you talking about? You treat me like a piece of furniture every day, or just an asset. And then you just, pretty much use her for sex, and then just, there's no romance, there's no foreplay. So yeah, unfortunately, there's lots of struggling relationships and marriages out there that go through this garbage. Yeah, so point for the ladies here, because that's what she's describing. Sounds pretty accurate, because it does happen a lot. Number 2, the performance over intimacy problem. Okay, so this goes hand in hand with number 1. Sex with you became another chore on my mental load because it's only about your finish line. Yeah, that goes hand in hand with number one. There's no intimacy, no connection, no effort to make it feel good for me. It's just a sweaty 10-minute utility you expect like a subscription service. Yeah, that's pretty cold. You know, I mean, your woman's not a robot. And like, what do they call it these days? Where's your Riz? It's kind of a cringe word, but you gotta have Riz, right? Well, that's daily Riz to get with the time. You want a blowjob, but won't give me a back rub. Yeah, that's pretty selfish. I mean, if you're gonna get a blowjob every day or every other day, the way it should be, by the way, because your guys' sex is through the roof. You always get what you want, she always gets what she wants. Blowjobs should be common, very common, exactly the way you want it, by the way. Because if it's not, you're not the happiest man on earth, are you? And a lot of guys are afraid to admit that. They're like, no, I don't care about blowjobs. Like, stop lying. You probably don't know what a really good blowjob is. It's extremely important in a marriage. If your woman is giving you blowjobs as frequently as possible, she's really in love with you. Let me tell you that. Or she could be using you, but yeah, that's just in a pretty niche case. And it's pretty obvious when a woman is trying to use you by doing things that you love for her to do. But I'll tell you what, if the relationship's going great and there's plenty of blowjobs, she's the one for you. Especially if she knows how to finish the job, that happy ending, the way you want it. But won't give me a back rub. Yeah, learn to give your woman massages. What the hell's wrong with you guys? You want a porn star performance. Yeah, that's the way your sex life should be, a porn star performance. That's why there's nothing wrong with pornography. Why don't you go learn from porn instead of disappointing your partner? But put in zero effort to make me feel like a star. Exactly. Porn stars don't have anything on you guys. You guys should be way better than any porn star. That's how much of a mastery you should have with sex. You guys should be sexual masters. But it takes two to tango. You turned what should be our deepest connection, absolutely, into the most transactional drain of my energy. And I'm tapped out. My body is on strike because the working conditions are shit. Yeah, I agree with her. There's a lot of douchebags out there who just, they don't... They see foreplay and romance and back rubs as feminine. What the hell is wrong with you? No wonder you're never going to be the happiest man on earth. You know, you're never going to be truly in love because you suck in the bedroom. And you don't want to learn what it takes to really satisfy your woman. If she is your woman, by the way. In the beginning, you have to earn her trust, her respect, her love, all of it. And she has to do the same thing. It's all about that reciprocity. What are we talking about? Number 3, the unattractive complacency. Okay, so you let yourself go completely, physically, mentally, and energetically. That's what she's talking about in points 1 and 2, by the way. And still expect the same sexual access you had when you were someone I was proud to be seen with. You're not the man I married. You're a nostalgic placeholder for him. And you're offended my vagina isn't sentimental. Desire isn't a duty, it's sparked by attraction. And you have done everything in your power to extinguish every last spark. That's what we were talking about with the candle going out. And then blame me for the dark. You became a stranger I have to manage, not a partner I want to crave. Alright, look, I'm going to side with the guys a little bit on this. Because if you have fallen out physically, stuff happens. As they say, you know? So you got to have a little bit of mercy on yourself, and she should have mercy on you too. Could happen to her as well. Maybe she's gained some weight. Maybe you both have gained some weight. But that's not everything, people. Get back on your train, get back on your horse, and let's keep moving forward. Any baby step forward is progress. You guys have to have patience with aging gracefully. If you guys put on a few pounds or several pounds or dozens of pounds, whatever the challenge may be, heck, maybe a couple 100 pounds. Because there are such scenarios. Well, get your ass back on track and make it happen. But don't expect miracles overnight. You have to have patience. Because that's a real test of love right there. Do you still love your partner even if such a tragedy happens for whatever reason? Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's a medication consequence. A side effect. We don't know. Or maybe you just allowed the pounds to accumulate far too long and you didn't get to it. Your responsibility of keeping those pounds off. But, that's a real test of love. It really is. That's just one test of love, by the way. All right, so I'll give her the bone for the last one, too, because it goes hand in hand with number 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and shift gears to the guys. Let's see what they have to say about sexless marriages. The bait and switch contract. You sold me a vision of a loving, intimate marriage, and then pulled a corporate restructuring once you got the ring. Yeah, okay, this can happen, unfortunately. That's why I highly encourage sex before marriage. You are very stupid and foolish. You're so naive if you don't have sex before marriage. Oh, but I want to marry a virgin. Then you're stupid. You're going to put a ring on it, meaning you're going to spend the rest of your life, ideally, with this person. You better test her out. Have a test drive in the bedroom. Now, if you don't want to finish inside the vagina, look, go to sodomy. What's wrong with that? You can finish with the blowjob or anal. It doesn't matter. What the hell's wrong with you? You need to know how it feels with her sexually and sensually. Intimacy is everything. That's the heart of the marriage. So if you want to be stupid and take a gamble and find out that she sucks, not in a good way, in the bedroom, she's a total dead fish, that's your fault. You're just as responsible as she is for that failed sexuality. I'm going to say that. So let's go ahead and continue. Sex wasn't a chore until you decided my needs were an inconvenience to your new life where I'm just a financial and logistical support system. Yeah, see, it can work both ways. She could use you just for your wallet, your bank account. Absolutely. So why did you get married with her? The red flags were there. You probably weren't paying attention. It happens. Most of the time you can see the red flags. Sometimes you can't, but it takes a real clever bastard to get past that one. Female bastard. You weaponize intimacy, using it as a reward for good behavior or withholding it as a punishment. Yeah, that's a no-go. That's an abusive woman right there. She's not obligated to have sex with you, but if she doesn't want to have sex with you and she's playing games with her vagina, and sex in particular, then yes, she's a toxic woman. Absolutely. Because what's up with that? What's wrong? You're not going to force her to have sex because in the past, hundreds of years ago, or maybe 100 years ago, and many guys today, they try to force their women to have sex with them. Obviously, that is not only bad, but most cases illegal if they get caught, right? Men don't do that. Real men don't do that. There's no force when it comes to sex. But when there's no sex being initiated by your partner, in this case the woman, something is terribly wrong. It's not like she has to be on schedule at this certain time of every day. No, we're not talking about that. That's completely unrealistic. When you feel it, and that's when you guys should do it. And you guys don't have to go all the way. Maybe you can tease each other, go halfway, 1/3, be creative. You guys can tease each other. You don't always have to finish. All right, so as punishment, yeah, so that's what I was saying in previous episodes was, yeah, she has a lot of power with the vagina power, right? I get it. We're not talking about the vagina monologues. We're talking about the vagina is very important in a relationship. So is the penis. But when she has problems with it, she's being stingy with her hoo-hoo. Well, you get the point, right? There's something terribly wrong. Where's the sex? Where's the love? Absolutely, I agree with the guy here so far. This happens a lot in marriages and relationships in general, turning the one thing that should be our mutual escape into a tool for control. Yes, a tool for control happens all the time. You broke the fundamental contract, and now you're the warden of a cell you built. Okay, so if the culpability does in fact fall on the woman, then yes, he's absolutely 100% correct. And I'm with him on this one. So yeah, point for the men. Very, very valid point. Let's see if he can match it with the rest of the 2 points. The death of spontaneity and enthusiasm. Having sex with you feels like negotiating a hostage situation. The lights have to be off. Oh, that's terrible. Where's your pride? You gotta be proud of your body, women. Don't do that. Don't make love in the dark. Unless you guys are gonna be too lazy to get up and turn off the light afterwards. Okay, maybe once in a while. Maybe once in a blue moon, pun intended. It has to be exactly 12 minutes on a Tuesday. You're gonna time limit your sex? Really? and I have to have completed a list of chores you invented that morning. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. It's mutual chores. End of story. You've medicalized and ritualized a natural animal connection into, yeah, well, we are technically animals, yes, into a clinical procedure with more rules than a tax code. My touch makes you flinch. My advance is pressure. You haven't just killed our sex life. You've criminalized my desire, making me feel like a predator in my own home for wanting my own wife. Yeah, absolutely. This is a very sad case, by the way. Doesn't typically happen. Most cases for guys, it's number one. But this can also happen, number two, where she all of a sudden becomes afraid of intimacy, avoids intimacy, and many times for no good reason. It's just that she's not really all there upstairs mentally. And she's got emotional problems, maybe past traumas that have nothing to do with you. And once again, if you put the ring on it, and then you find out all this crap later on in the marriage, which is called baggage, really deep emotional, psychological baggage, it's still your fault. Why didn't you check all of that before you got married? You see, marriage is like the final green light. It's not a test. If you treat marriage as a test, well, let's see, honey, if we make it. Wrong. That's the wrong answer. You have to take her for a test drive, inside and out. And I do mean that literally. And then if she checks off all the blocks repeatedly, then you guys can talk about being engaged, have more sex, have more talks that are very serious and intelligent conversations, philosophical wisdom, all of it. Philosophy, everything has to be discussed before marriage. Marriage is like the final, I cannot stand the thought of being with anybody else but you. That's when you're ready. When you both can say that and promise each other, looking into each other's eyes, damn it, that I will want to be with you for the rest of my life without fail, without doubt. But what do 99% of people do? I'm going to throw that percentage out there. It's not official, but that's how I feel it is. Almost all marriages, they don't do this. They just go through a few checklists like, oh, okay, she gave me a blowjob here. I had a great time at the club there. Hey, you want to get married? What the hell's your problem? Oh, he has a stable job. He's got six-pack abs. Just a bunch of idiots putting rings on each other's fingers. Have no idea what marriage means. It's not about the ring and the ceremony. It's about the promise that I will be with you forever and ever. For eternity without time. If you can't get that deep with it, you're not in love. End of story. Stop being such fools. Last one, number 3. Let's see if the guys finish strong in this battle. The unilateral change of terms. You decided without my consent that our marriage would be celibate. That's horrible. That's a sexless marriage. My loneliness, my frustration, my physical needs are all dismissed as your problem, while you get to enjoy every other benefit of the partnership, my provision, my loyalty, my labor. You use every ounce of my emotional energy as your free therapist. But the idea of reciprocating with physical intimacy is using you. Okay, so this goes hand in hand with number 2. You've made yourself a platonic life partner while I signed up for a wife. Okay, that's not a marriage. That's a fraudulent merger. Well, I wouldn't say fraudulent, because once again, had you have honed in and mastered sex before putting the ring on it, you have to accept responsibility. Okay, guy? That's what you have to do here. You can't put the 100% blame on her, because yes, she could be the cause ultimately of the failing relationship, but you still said yes I do to her. And you know what? Stuff happens. Maybe once upon a time she was perfect in bed and everything. That's why it's not just about sex. Many people can't even master sex to begin with. But once you master sex, everything else has to happen in tandem at the same time. You have to master the psychological connection, the emotional connection. Sex is just, that's not, simple biology or whatnot. It's not like just a scientific get together with intimacy. No, it's supposed to be all of that culminated into one. The ultimate demonstration of love. That's why the nastier you get in the bedroom, respectfully speaking, the more intense the relationship. Happens all the time. And I'm not talking about those idiots who have wild sex, with BDSM and yada yada. No. That's not love. That's just toying around, trying different things. That's fine if you guys both agree to that. But I'm talking about a real serious, deep mental and emotional connection on a spiritual level, even before you even think about getting married. That's the level of connection. In fact, you guys should already feel like you guys are soulmates made for each other before you choose marriage. That way it's guaranteed to work. You don't have eyes for anybody else. You can admire people who are attractive outside. Like, wow, she must work out. He must work out. Oh, that person looks good in those clothes. But that's as far as it goes. All right? Mini glances or whatever. As long as you both don't have any insecurities, you'll be fine. But the guys who are doubtful and the women who are doubtful, they start to get antsy. Many women ruin what's going to be a perfect relationship because they're impatient. They start to become emotionally out of control and they ruin it. Many guys ruin their relationship because they start to get greedy. They want more than just one woman. Well, you're not in love with that woman, are you? The one that you said yes to. You're not. Because why isn't one enough? Why is the thought of more something that's so tempting? And so any douchebag out there, guy who says that, no, it's what guys do. We were supposed to inseminate as many women as possible. You don't know what love is. And you shouldn't waste any woman's time with that type of attitude. So it looks like it's a tie in this battlefield. We have the same number of casualties, the same number of percentage of destruction here. But yeah, these are valid complaints. For the first time in this series, all 6 of these are valid complaints. This type of garbage happens every single day. And the laziness to try to fix it is unimaginable, unbelievable. Just the type of apathetic ignorance out there to want to fix these things, to even want to try to think about fixing these things. Usually people just give up or they go through what's called a sexless marriage. Well, the responsibility is on both partners in this case. And that's where I'm going to have to leave it. So with that said, that does conclude today's show. So be sure to tune in next time for one more episode for Season 1 with gender war arguments. And also check out all these great shows shown here, but there's many more shows on my channel. Check them out in my playlists. And much love, everybody.